Hello, friends. I'm Pastor Lynn, one of the pastors at Narden Park United Methodist Church in Farmington Hills. We in Michigan recently received word that we are to shelter in place. But my husband Gary and I, we're already on day 12 of that journey. Um, During our 12 days, we've alternately enjoyed having so much time together, and we've also gotten on each other's nerves a little bit. Um, Maybe that's happened at your house too, has it? Gary and I actually, to deal with this, we started a cribbage tournament, 3 games a day until the crisis ends. Right at this moment, he's ahead, but we'll see what happens. As time goes on, the reality of the obstacles before us are becoming more and more real, aren't they? It's a strange mixture of feeling lonely and being scared and feeling challenged as we try to figure out how to do the things that really matter. I heard on the news yesterday that Beaumont Hospital is getting full, yet they know there's still going to be a lot more patients coming. So they've stopped doing elective surgeries and they are changing some of their operating rooms into intensive care units. Now, before I was a pastor, I was a hospital administrator, so I really appreciate the elegance of this plan because, after all, you need the same equipment for an intensive care unit, at least some of it, that you do in an operating room. And so, this is a great plan. It's a great example of thinking outside the box. Many of you probably have been looking for some innovative solutions to care for your family and to reach out to friends, and I'll bet you've found some. I talked with one of the young mothers in our church who was describing to me the challenge of continuously inventing new things to do with her 2 year old to keep the 2 year old happy and healthy and to keep mom sane, right? Prior to the full stay in place order, perhaps you discovered, as we did, the joy of drive by visits with your own particular boomer or, whoops, grandparents. We're the boomers in this case, and our grandkids have done a few drive by visits where we get to wave. Now, in the same way that we've been doing innovative things at home, Pastor Melanie and the staff have been racking our brains to find meaningful ways to do what really matters here at our church, to do good and to show love. So, you've seen the rapid creation of the spiritual sustenance videos like this one. You've had a chance to participate in some amazing hymn sing. The connecting groups are discovering how to connect electronically by the mystery of Zoom or other equally unique technologies. This all makes me think of a time in the ministry of Jesus when he was at home. Did you realize that early on he stayed at a regular house in Capernaum? Um, One day, a crowd of people filled his house and no one could get in. It was packed. But there was a group of 4 believers who were determined that they were going to get in because they were carrying their friend and they wanted him to meet Jesus. So they looked at the crowd, they thought for a minute, and they headed straight up to the flat roof of the house. Bible scholar James Martin says that the roof was likely made of strong cross beams, but then the cross beams were filled in with brush and with clay. And so when the 4 friends got to the roof, they began to dig. They dug and dug, and they actually, if you look at the Greek, what they did was unroofed the roof. Uh, Mark 2 says that Jesus saw their faith and he brought forgiveness and healing to their friend by what they did to reach out for their friend in a very risky and innovative way. They brought healing. risky just because, people were going to look at them and say, wow, what an odd thing to do. And people feel nervous about that. So, like those four believers, we who are followers of Jesus during these difficult times, we need to think outside the box. Need to use both our heads and our hearts at home, at work, and at the church. Here at Narden Park, a whole lot of my work involves our newer members. So perhaps you'd like to hear about and so I've been calling some of them, and I'd like to share with you a few things that I learned this week about some of them. For example, Makita Duncan, she and her husband Gary joined within the last 3 years. She's leading a team of 80 clinical engineers, and their job is to secure all the ventilators that are needed for Henry Ford Health System and to keep all of the 80,000 medical devices for that whole 6 hospital system running. Wow. She's going to have to think outside the box to make that happen. Tom Rice, another new member, is an ICU nurse at Oakwood Hospital. Mark Hefner cares for others through his work at Alpha House. Jeff Rucker works to keep our utilities functioning. Those are the folks that are new to our church, and there's a whole lot more of them. I can't name them all. And there, of course, are our longstanding members who are also doing the same kinds of important work. Inside the church, Bob Docking and Marshall Dunlap have figured out a way to use FaceTime to keep their connecting group going. They did it last night for the first time as an experiment, and everybody liked it so much they're going to keep doing it every week instead of every other week. The Stephen ministers, the congregational care folks, they're already making check-in zone calls, and soon the hospitality connectors will be joining them in that work, as will others. How can you overcome obstacles and be the church in some fresh way? Can you open your old address book and contact a lost friend? Can you pray for some folks by name? Can you use some of your free time to get out your Bible and reread the New Testament and pray as you read? Look, the mission of the church is journey with Jesus. That's our mission. But instead of sheltering in place, we are a people who will find a way to journey in place.